This is Modern Persian Food,
a culinary podcast for today's food enthusiast.
We talk about classic Persian flavors,
modern recipes,
and embracing culture and identity through food.
I'm Bita.
And I'm also Bita.
Welcome to our show.
This is Bita and Nazem Kelley. I'm here with Bita Arabian, and we are ready to talk to you guys about springtime. The seasons has already changed. We have passed into our new year, and we are really embracing the spring and reflecting a little bit about some of the springtime occasions, specifically like Easter, and also growing up in a Persian family in the United States and how we felt about all of that. So, Bita Jun, I thought that this might be a good opportunity for us to kind of like share some of the experience we have with Easter and also talk about some of our favorite ways to celebrate Easter. And you know, that always involves food of some sort for us. So let's get into it and talk a little bit about this springtime holiday and springtime in general.
Let's do it. Hi, everyone. If folks are new to us, just wanted to share that Bita and I talk from different locations. I'm in the Bay Area and the other Bita Junes up in the city. We're in slightly different places in our mom lives. I've got young adult kids in college. Bita June has younger kids. And however, we both have sort of similar stories to share about what it's like to grow up Iranian in an Iranian-American family.
Yeah, absolutely. When I think about Easter, like I didn't traditionally grow up celebrating Easter per se. You know, I grew up in like Northern California and there were Easter type events, but it wasn't necessarily something that my family directly like hosted or celebrated in our home. But, you know, like Easter egg hunts and also like friends events and things like that is really kind of my experience with Easter when I was younger. But I always am looking for an occasion to celebrate. So when I got older, I started having kind of Easter type events. First, it was like in different restaurants, just gathering a bunch of people together to kind of celebrate the occasion. And then I eventually ended up having more events that I would host in my own home with friends and family. And there are a couple key things that I would like always love to eat and I always associate with springtime and Easter. But it was something that I grew to start celebrating and participating in later in my life, as opposed to growing up with it all the time.
Gotcha. Yeah, and you're such a hostess. I feel like a hostess with the mostest up
Woo-hoo!
there.
Not sure about that, but I do love just being surrounded by people and feeding them. So it's always fun for me to invite people into my home or coordinate an event so that everyone can be together.
Yeah, and I think that probably comes from your heritage too. It's very Persian to want to welcome people into your home and to feed them. Eat more culture.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I think we really started to celebrate Easter more when we had kids, and especially when they were young. Like, we just wanted to participate in all the fun things that are spring. And so I just have fond memories. We do Easter egg hunts in the backyard, in parks. We do like the big events. We'd paint eggs. In our family, we did Easter things in the morning is how we would celebrate. And we were fortunate to have both sets of grandparents nearby. Really, really, I think makes for a very rich life for my girls. It's something I didn't have. Yeah, we were all about the brunch, Easter brunch. So we'd either do it at one of our houses or we would go to a restaurant. I think what the breakfast buffet in a restaurant, where that came from for our family, is that a lot of times it'd be spring break. So we might be in some sort of like an all-inclusive resort if it was a lucky year, or we'd go to a restaurant on vacation. But then other years when we were here, if we weren't hosting or going to the grandparents for brunch, we would find a restaurant that had an all-you-could-eat brunch. It just is really fun, and this the elaborateness of the celebration and the brunch foods. We love omelet bars.
Oh, fun.
So even if we're doing it at home, we try to have like a makeshift, a home omelet bar. We also like doing deviled eggs. We usually have a lot of hard-boiled eggs around from decorating them. And lots of sweets and little, baked items for brunch. So that's kind of in a nutshell what Easter is like for our family. We don't really do an Easter dinner here. Yeah. How about you guys?
Yeah, I mean, you said deviled eggs, so you had me at deviled eggs because I love deviled eggs. And that's actually another thing that I didn't really grow up eating either. And I kind of was like, actually, to be honest with you, like turned off by just the way that they looked until I was much older when I started eating them. And I'm like, oh my God, this is delicious. I love them now.
Kind of a bar food too, though. That's, I think, when I first started having them, is like, that was like an easy thing to get when you're out having beers.
Yeah, protein packed and giving you some good energy. But yeah, I love deviled eggs. One of my girlfriends taught me how to make it one year on Easter, and I really enjoy making them. So I think deviled eggs is definitely a must for Easter. I also love like the springtime vegetables, like specifically asparagus or fava beans or even peas during the springtime. They're bright green color. I really enjoy that. And so when I think about Easter, I always love having like a hearty meal that usually includes lamb. I'm a big lamb person, so I love using lamb for special occasions. So this would be one of the occasions that I would serve lamb. And as I'm envisioning my Easter menu for this year, what I look forward to eating this Easter, in addition to the deviled eggs, is Baghali Polo ba Maycheh, which is like my all-time favorite Persian dish. What that is like braised lamb shanks that's served over rice with fava beans and dill. And I know you are an expert at making that, so if you could talk us through that in a few minutes. But this is one of my favorite meals. I will make this at home. I will also make it in a restaurant. So depending on how Easter exactly pans out this year, I might just have to go to my local favorite Maycheh here in San Francisco and get a few platters of that to share. And so if you are inspired to make the lamb shank at home, it's really just braised lamb shank, and you start off by browning some of the big pieces of the lamb shank, usually served on the bone, and you kind of brown that and then add your aromatics and add a little bit of water and let that simmer for a long time. It's one of those cuts of meat that needs a lot of time to actually kind of get very tender, and it is so delicious. It's just like kind of falls off the bone after you're done cooking it. And I love that on the bed of fava bean rice. I love fava beans, so this rice is just like a natural pairing to go with the lamb shank too. When I think about Easter, and specifically how I want to celebrate Easter this year, is with a big plate of Baghali Polo Maycheh.
Delicious. I was lucky enough to try the specific dish that you're talking about at the restaurant that you love to get it from. And
yes,
it was everything
right.
you said. I mean, it just falls off the bone.
Yeah.
And the meat like melts in your mouth, which is maybe a weird way to describe it, but that's how tender it is, flavorful. And I would probably order a side of some sort of a yogurt dip to go with that. I think that would pair really nicely, either a mousse de khiyar or a mousse de masir if you're at a restaurant. But my husband makes great lamb on the grill.
Oh yeah, like lamb chops.
Yes, little lamb chops. I want some. I want some. They're so good on the grill too.
Yeah, we get a little char on it.
Yeah. And I back to the deviled eggs. I have a recipe. I love making deviled eggs. And, one little trick I have is that if you don't get the egg yolk exactly the color that you want, which is a nice bright yellow, to then, put your spices in and put back inside your hollowed out egg white, you can put a little bit of bloomed saffron or paprika. I love smoked paprika. It elevates the flavor notes and it adds some color. So that's a fun trick. The other thing I do is, and you might want to try this if you haven't yet, I don't know if your girlfriend taught you this, but once you've mixed up your egg yolk mixture with whatever you like putting in there, salt and pepper and garlic, it doesn't need a lot. Put it into a little sandwich bag and then snip the corner of your sandwich bag and squeeze it out like frosting. And you can make it in a beautiful swirly design, and then take some little cooking shears and chop up some chives and decorate it, and then sprinkle some paprika on top.
Delicious. Yeah, it turns into like a little piping bag and you have a little bit more control over making the presentation.
Yeah, is that how you do it too?
Yeah, I do use that. Although sometimes I'll just use it with like the spoon, like 2 spoons, and try to put little dollops inside of the egg whites. But yeah, if I do have the time to put it in a little bag, it makes it a lot easier. On that note, a friend made it one time and she actually threw all the ingredients into the zip top bag itself, all the egg yolks and stuff like that, and she just smushed it around in the plastic bag. So then she kind of saved time by not washing one more dish. But
that's smart.
That was kind of like an easy way to do it as well.
Maybe you'd use a big freezer bag, put it all in there. That's smart.
Yeah, I love adding celery to mine too.
Ooh, a little crunch.
Yeah, and a little bit of pickle juice and pickles.
Oh,
too.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never put pickle juice in there. So vinegar, so it gets a little zing.
I put pickles and then I put like a tablespoon or two of the pickle juice too.
Oh, your deviled eggs have crunch.
Yeah, I like it with a little bit of crunch. I like it with a little bit of a texture.
Almost like a salad olivia essence.
I know. I've actually thought about making salad olivia and like topping the eggs with the salad olivia mixture.
That's so interesting. You got my wheels turning right now. If you skip the potato, it might be easier to fill the egg white with the salad olivia filling. You're so smart.
Yeah, or just do the potato like small. That sounds good. So, okay, so we'll have to report back on that recipe specifically.
Yeah. Hey, friends, just wanted to ask you a quick favor.
If you would like to join on to our mailing list, there's 3 ways that you can do that. You can either go to our website, modernpersianfood.com. You can scroll down in the show notes in whatever app you're using to listen to this podcast, and there is a button that you can click to sign up for the newsletter. Or on Instagram, we have it in our bio, direct links that you can sign up.
Sign up and don't skip a beat.
Tell us about your Baghali Polo, because I love, like, fava beans are just like such a favorite, and usually they're in season for such a short time. I actually remember like growing up when one of the international markets would actually bring fava beans for like the 1 week out of the whole year. All the Persians were there getting it like by the box full. Like you don't get like a bag of fava beans, you get like a box of fava beans.
Yeah.
And then it's like a big ordeal of like sorting it and peeling it and stuff like that. And then it's always delicious food. So tell us about the Baghali Polo portion and how to make that.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I have 2 memories. So the one that you just shared and fava beans, as you described in the pod, the big fava beans in the pod that are in the markets are in season like now, right? From March through May, they're in season, but maybe even like a shorter period where they're like really good. And most of the time, that's when you buy it in the bag and then you bring it home and you steam it and you could just snack on it, peel it and snack on it. So it's a layered rice dish. When my girls were younger, there was a science class called Garden and we got to grow fava beans. And let me tell you, every kid ate the Baghali Polo that we made from the fava beans that they grew.
I love it.
So if you have kids, get a garden. It is such a great thing for them to tend to something and watch it grow and then to pick it and use it in a food. They'll taste it and they'll love it. It's really cool to watch.
Yeah, sounds fun.
So because fava beans, if you haven't had them, they're, so nutritious. Put that right top line, full of protein, fiber, micronutrients, vitamin B, iron, you name it. They're so good for you.
Wow.
However, maybe get used to the taste. I think they taste better than a lima bean, but they kind of look like large lima beans.
Yeah.
And they can be a challenge to find for this recipe. So I have some easy substitutes. But if you are looking for a more traditional, you can sometimes find fava beans already shelled frozen in the Middle Eastern market. My most common substitute, the way that I make it, actually just with green peas. I like it. It's a little bit sweet. It still has the green flavor, but Baghali Polo to me is essentially like sabzi polo that we have for Persian New Year, which is herb rice made with dill. However, it usually has the fava beans and sometimes a little bit of garlic, salt, pepper, and saffron. I like to use saffron down on the tahdig. And it's really delicious. Another substitute, if you don't want to use green peas because it does change the flavor, you could try it with edamame. Edamame is a sort of similar shape and look. Again, the flavor will be slightly different. So 3 substitutes if you can't find fava beans include green peas, lima beans, edamame. And basically how you make it, you just parboil the rice, you put the oil down in the pan, in your pot, and you layer rice, you layer dill, you layer fava beans or whatever, pea, and then you just keep going with the layers until you get to the top. Put your steam holes, put your dam koni or your cloth over the lid of the pot, and cook it like a layered rice. And it's a great rice if you want to try to go for tahdig on. And that's about it. That's my 2 cents on it. There are some shortcuts and things you can try with dill. You can use dry dill. You can use fresh. I've used freeze-dried dill. Do you have any notes on making it?
Yeah, I think that it's one of the herb rices that you kind of need more herbs than you think you do. I always feel like I could have always had more dill or more herbs when I cook it myself. But I think it's just such a beautiful springtime dish. It's like super beautiful. You could, we're talking about pairing it with lamb here, but you can really pair it with any other protein that you want to. So the options are endless on what you can pair it with. But I do think that it's just a beautiful springtime dish to share with your friends and family and to make yourself. Or, to be honest with you, if you're lucky enough to have a Persian restaurant nearby, Baghali Polo is usually an option that several restaurants have on their menus. So support your local Persian restaurant, and you can always get these foods ready made. I think what we're trying to express here is just bringing Persian flavors into your house and into your home, and using opportunities like Easter or other occasions to blend the cultures in a way that makes you feel good.
Yeah. Have fun with it.
Yeah, to have fun and incorporate different flavors into your menu, and into the different occasions you can kind of highlight some Persian flavors in there. So I love that with the saffron and the deviled eggs, and then with this iconic Persian meal, that these are some fun ways to incorporate those Persian flavors.
I agree. Play the games, do the arts and crafts, make the spring foods, and just keep enjoying the season. I have a surprise Ask the Beats.
Ooh, all right, let's do it.
It came in off Instagram. I'll keep the person anonymous. The question may have gotten a little bit lost in translation, but I'll just ask it as it was posed to me.
Okay.
Bita June, do you have any hate ingredients? So what I think that person must have meant is that, are there any ingredients in Persian cooking that you just don't like using?
Oh, that's an interesting question.
I got you off guard.
Yeah, I'm pretty equal opportunity when it comes to different ingredients.
Yeah.
Do you have something? What do you think?
Yeah, I hate ingredients. Well, I finally bought the bovine lava shack that one of our guest stand-up, Dan, told us about.
The qaraqorut?
I bought some qaraqorut, and it was the worst thing I've ever put in my mouth.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
He was not wrong about that. So I tried to give it away to some people there are some people who like it.
Yeah, some people love it.
That, have memories of having it in Iran that like it. And then I had my mother-in-law say that she wants to try to cook with it and like melt it down.
Oh.
And make some sort of something with it, khoresh or soup. That is probably all. My other one is I do have a little bit of a averse reaction to the smell of liver. So my husband likes it.
Oh,
and he'll get it sometimes, and I just find that odor to be
a little overwhelming.
Hard for me. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess like kind of like those kind of sweetbread type of organ meats, I guess would be some things that I just don't have a ton of experience with. And then if I think about it too much, it'll make me a little uncomfortable actually eating it. So I guess that if I had to pick one genre of food, that would probably be what would be on my like dislike list.
Well, that's good. Well, we're not really picky eaters, that's for sure. We're obsessed with food.
I know. And I love like all kinds of food. So yeah, I would say that if I had to pick that would be my answer.
Send us a question, shoot us a DM on Instagram. We have fun with these. You can ask us anything.
Awesome. Well, hopefully we've inspired people to kind of incorporate Persian flavors into their Easter and springtime menus. And until next time, Bita June, have a great day.
Bye.
Bye-bye. You've been listening to the Modern Persian Food Podcast with Bita and Bita. Thanks for spending time with us. If you've enjoyed what you heard today, consider telling a friend or giving us a good rating. You can subscribe to our show for free on your favorite podcasting app, or find us online at modernpersianfood.com or on Instagram for the recipes and information we talked about today. We'd love to hear your thoughts, and see you next time.